So, good evening everyone. You are watching the Slydog Racing League on YouTube tonight. Sponsored by Grace Bespoke, your printing and embroidery specialists. Visit gracebespoke.co.uk for more. I'm Zeb Bauer, glad you're with us tonight, and we are already into the qualifying. We have a bit of short starting period tonight, as we had a bit of trouble setting up the lobby, but everything's alright now. We see the drivers checking in for this event. The grid should be full, I think. We have a bit of a different setting for tonight, as usually the Slydog Racing League is doing a one-shot quali only, but for tonight we have agreed on having a short qualifying, meaning we will see a 18 minutes, more or less like a free practice, and the fastest lap times then will decide the starting grid for the first race. I say the first because the Slydog Racing League always features two race events. The first one will be a 25% race here on the Baku city circuit in Azerbaijan, and the second race will be in Zandvoort in the Netherlands then. And for the second race we will not see a qualifying, we will reverse the grid. The top 10 will be reversed, the top 10 result from this event, from this race. So expect a lot of action around the places 9 and 10 towards the end of the first race, because these guys will start from the front row in the second race then. Yes, the Baku city circuit is part of the Formula 1 since 2016. It's approximately 6 kilometers of length and features 20 turns. The first sector that we have already been through is more or less only 90-degree turns, so once around the block, you could say. The second sector where we are in here is a sightseeing tour through the historic town, the historic old town of Baku, and sector 3 is more or less just one enormously long straight. That's where our depicted driver Bran Flakes is on here, so we will stay the first lap with him. This one straight is 2.2 kilometers of length, so the longest, by far the longest straight in the Formula 1 calendar. And here we are in sector 1. Let's get in some more details about that I was searching for, the lap times. Let's get in some information about the tires. Probably everyone will go for softs here in the qualifying. So again, as I mentioned, just 90-degree turns here in sector 1. And here, as we are already in sector 2, we will see one of the hardest turns in the whole year. This is here, turn 8 of Baku, alongside the historic city wall to the left hand side. Yeah, the second track will be Zandvoort in the Netherlands. It's a totally different track, just 4.2 kilometers of length. So the one very long final straight where we are on right here is just this one straight is almost half the length of the whole Zandvoort circuit, and it's very difficult to overtake there in Zandvoort, so a good position is even more important than usual. The first hot lap by Mr. Flakes was invalid, I'm afraid, so he is still ranked without having a time posted. And for the moment we have seen Monster in his Ferrari posting a hot lap. And right after that he lost his front wing. Interesting fact. Interesting situations. Sadly, we came just a little bit late for that. And even though he has still a lot of time, but being on this track with limited or almost no downforce, that will be a really hard in-lap back to his pits. As you can see, the walls are very close. There is actually no gravel, no grass, so the slightest mistake will cost you a few winglets or end plates, if not the whole front wing. So while all that has been going on, we see Chetty Duck in P2, Liam Osborne in P3. They are faster than the real life lap record that has been a lap posted by Valtteri Bottas in 2019 with a 1:40.495. So we are already by now approximately a second faster than real life, but I'm pretty sure that we will see even faster laps in the later minutes of this qualifying. For the moment we see Bitmappy, who has been grey. He stepped out of his car. Let's see if he'll rejoin and come back later. He still has almost 12 minutes left on the clock. Yeah, what else is important? We have seen some technical difficulties already last week. We sadly had just one race there. We had the Grand Prix of France and should have had another Grand Prix of Abu Dhabi afterwards. That did not happen, and this race is rescheduled for a later time in the year. So Abu Dhabi will be happening. It will happen just a bit later. So we are now with the race 4 and 5 for today, and let's have a look at someone who's on a hot lap or at least an out lap. That is maybe our Granty boy sitting in the pink car that has just won a Grand Prix yesterday evening, in case you are following real life Formula 1 likewise. And yeah, so the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix will be driven to a later point, but will not vanish from the calendar. Second thing to talk about, of course, are our overall standings in this second season. As I mentioned, this is race number 4, so we already have seen quite some racing action lately. And Granty Boy, the driver we are with here, is the overall leader with 55 points, even though he missed the France Grand Prix. So after 3 races he participated in only 2, but still is the leader with 55 points. But P2 Chris Panda is right on his heels. He likewise has 55 points on his account, so plus minus the gap between those two guys on the overall standings. And in P3 is Monster the pole setter at the moment with 49 points, so he's just 6 points behind Granty Boy and Chris Panda. In P4 then Chatty Duck with minus 22 points, and P5 goes to Stio with minus 24 points. So yeah, very long season still ahead. Nothing's decided of course yet, but these are the top 3 or top 5 that we will have an eye on. Stio has started his qualifying quite good likewise, so Monster in the pole position right now, Stio just behind him, not even 1/10 behind him, so that's very close. We have not seen a time posted yet by UFC fan Liam, Rizzle Sticks, Albert David, Bitmappy as he's still grey, Chris Panda, Leonard Cam and Granty Boy, but we are with Granty Boy here as he is about to close out Sector 2. And the Sector 2 time is a 1:15.6. That's quite good, I would like to say. So even though he is running on medium tires, he might still be in a pole position conversation just by his first shot. Let's see what the time will start, and he is in P2. P2, wow. 32 thousandths of a second behind Monster. That's really close, especially if you take into account that he has tried his first hot lap on mediums. So the tires, in case you should not know about this rule, the Parc Fermé rule always say that the top 10 qualifiers have to start their race on this very set they have posted their hot lap, their hot time on. And from P11 and beyond, every driver has a free choice of tires for the start. So in case Granty Boy should not go out again, should stick to the time he has set, he will start on mediums. That could give him a disadvantage right on the start, on the first 2 or 3 laps, where the softs definitely have some better traction and better lap times, but afterwards he will have an advantage as his tire strategy does have more options, and he will not have to pit just as soon as everyone on the red tires will have to. With a 25% race length, there's actually not really much of strategy and tactics and stuff. It's just about track action, especially with the walls that close. We will definitely see a bunch of lost front wings, I would like to call it. And with his second hot lap, Stio has posted a new pole time, improving himself by 7/10, and so he's the first one to reach a 1:38 time, 1:38.9. And that means we are 1.5 seconds faster than the real life times. And well, I still think that this is not the end yet. So I would like to assume that someone will be even faster, and there it is. The Monster has countered Stio's time. 1:38.8. Congratulations to that. Let's run down the field a bit more before we come into the hectic last 2 or 3 minutes. So Monster, as we've seen, back in the pole, then Stio Grunty Boy in P3 on his set of mediums, almost a second behind the pole setter. In P4, Chetty Duck. In 5, Liam Osborne. In P6, David Lawson. P7, the second Ferrari of Josef Morados. In P8, Chris Panda, one of the championship contenders, potentially. So he's a bit behind right now, 2 seconds behind his big rivals. Then Butters in P9, Albert De Witt in the second Racing Point in P10. We see James Punt in P11 in the second Mercedes. P12 is our host, that's Trem. P13 Mogi, P14 Liam, P15 Leonard Cam, bit disappointing. I know that he can do more. In P16, very familiar to the real life, a Alfa Romeo with Darren Mark. P17 Brian Wheeler, P18 Brian Flakes. No times posted thus far by Rizzle Sticks and Bitmappy, but I think Mr. Rizzle Sticks, yes, he's ruled on an outlap here, so let's stay with him for the moment until we start the hectic last minutes and his sector 2 time. Sector 2 coming to an end here. Oh, I think he crashed. I think that he hit the barrier there. Yeah, he missed some end plate. Oh, that will be close. I would like to assume that he will return to the pits and try to rush out again. If he is able to cross the start-finish line before the clock hits zeros, he is allowed to have another hot lap shot. Yeah, he's coming back to the pits. So he will get himself new tires and a new nose, and then will try to get on a hot lap before the clock runs out. Meanwhile, Monster, the pole setter, is still in the pits. Let's see, let's have an eye on if he likes to try to improve himself. The others behind him all on their outlap right now. Stio, here he is. Granty Boy, Stio a bit in front of Granty Boy. Chetty Duck here. And Liam Osborne completes the top 5, so these guys are in a potential pole position run, I would like to call it. So let's see who of them starts their hot lap the first, and then we will jump a lot back and forth between them to see these sector times. It seems like, yep, Monster is in the pits. He did not return to the track. He will not run again. So Stio is the first one who will deliver us times. Here we are with him in his Haas for the moment. Sector 1 will close out after the 90-degree turns. So he's behind the pit lane right now. And he improves himself a little bit. Granty Boy, sadly didn't see his time set. Liam Osborne does not on a hot lap, and I think he has aborted it. So let's stick to Stio here for the moment, as he is maybe chasing the pole. The clock has hit zeros, but all these hot laps are valid, of course, still. Stio at the end of Sector 2. Oh, he lost a lot of time. And Granty Boy said it did not see his sector time. He's still running on the same set of mediums. And the clock will stop for Stio and Granty Boy and Chatty Dog right in a moment. Let's see where they stop. Stio, no improvement. Granty Boy in 3. And Chatty Dog in the very end. Chatty Dog, the last of those 3 guys. We did not see him a lot, but he has acquired the pole in the very last moment. Congratulations. 138.745, beating Monster just by 58 thousandths of a second. Congratulations to our pole setter. Then Monster in P2, CEO in 3, Granty Boy 4. New FC fan Liam has lunged ahead late into P5. Liam Osborne in 6, David Loss in 7, Leonard Cam in 8, Josef Marados in P9, and Chris Panda for P10. So all these guys will have to start on the set of tire that you see right now depicted. James Punt in P11 and everyone behind him do have a free choice of tires. So that's it for the moment. The CPU has just finished the session. Congratulations again here to our pole setter Chatty Duck. Here's the result again. Oh, we see Josef Marados. He has picked up a 5-position grid penalty. And with that result, I will step aside a bit for the last few seconds and be with you in just a moment. So the session timer has ticked down. Here we are with the last few pictures of the city of Baku. Yeah, we see 2 messages that still some people are struggling a bit, so the technical difficulties somehow stick to the Slydog Racing League a little bit at the moment. I hope that this will not be a bigger problem again to the rest of the session, the rest of the evening. And the drivers are checking in. And we will jump into the starting grid right here. A formation lap to begin. So just a moment to have a look at the table, and no one is gray at the moment. I think that's a good sign, I would like to say. Here we see the tire strategy presented by Amazon Web Services, but as I already mentioned in the qualifying, there is no big tire strategy. It's rather, yeah, 1 lap earlier or later, but no big undercut possibility or something. And it's, I think, more important to just stay away of the barrier than any kind of strategy. And let's get in some information that we might need later. maybe let's have a look about the tires used. So Granty Boy in P4 on his mediums, as we have seen in the qualifyings. Top 10 dominated by the softs, of course. Then Chris Panda in P9, first one to start his race on mediums. Oh, and even two drivers starting on hards. That's Albert De Witt and Mogi in P17. Let's see how long they can stay on this set of hards, and I suppose they will like to run on them as long as possible and jump on red tires at the end of the race. And our two leaders have more or less been rushing through this installation lap. Already a big gap to P3, so they will have to wait quite long in their box. On the long straight the other guys have picked up, so everyone heavily warming up the tires. Weather should not be a problem, I would like to assume, so looks like fair weather, fine day here in Baku. And yeah, with that we reach the starting grid, and the grid is about to form up. The run down to turn 1 is not very long, so here you see the curb right in front of us. So there's already turn 1. Not a long time to accelerate. And the Azerbaijan Grand Prix of our Slydog Racing League is on! Lights out, here we go in Baku. Monster had quite a good start, and in the background we see some crashes. Big chaos there. Still some debris flying off here. I think Josef Morados was involved somehow. We see a virtual safety car and a 5 seconds penalty to Liam Osborne. So David Lawson has lost 11 points. I was seeing a Alpha Tauri in a bit awkward spot on the track, so I'm very sure that he was involved there somehow. And we are still in yellow, no overtaking here. Green has started now. Here we are back to racing action, and we see the first penalties picked up. We will have a look about that soon. And we are back in the lead here for the moment. Slydog was able to defend his lead over Monster. No position change within the top 6. Just Osborne with a penalty, likewise to Mogi. Another yellow in the intermediate sector has vanished already. So there will not be a lot of corner cutting action, I would like to say, as there is actually just 1 or maybe 2 corners that you can cut. The rest, the barrier is very close. And speaking about very close, that is Monster here at the end of lap 1 in the slipstream of Slydog. No DRS of course yet. Will he attack him right away? Yes he does, but he cannot jump ahead. Monster, oh, Monster is ghosted at the moment. Maybe some connection issues for him. I hope that he will be able to return soon. CPU meanwhile has overtaken his car, so Slydog under virtual pressure, I would like to call it, from Monster. And then he already has quite a big gap to CEO. Almost 3 seconds the gap to P3. And let's have a look at the tires used. And we see the first 2 pit stops by James Punt and Mogi. Punt has opted for hards. Let's see, maybe he will try to get over the race on them. That's very long for a 25% race on one set, but possible, I would like to assume. And yep, Monster is not ghosted anymore. Welcome back. And so he is really chasing Jetty Duck here, still within the second. Jetty Duck seems like he's able to pull away slightly, and his idea would be to... Oh, let's have a look at Brown Flakes. He is in the wall there, in the wall, has lost a lot of front wing. Ah, that is a vicious turn. Vicious turn 15 it is. And oh, we see some debris there on the track too, so there was someone slow here. Who's that? It's Lawson, David Lawson. Maybe the debris came off his front wing. Let's see if he will pit. We already have 3 guys in the pits now, 4 guys in the pits, 5 guys in the pits, so a lot of pit stop action going on here. And let's have an eye on the tires that they use. Cam has put on mediums. Lawson here too, mediums for him. Oh, this takes a lot of time. Getting himself a new nose. Rizzle sticks on hards. Ooh, bit of an unsafe release there. Rizzle sticks on hards. Brian Wheeler on hards. Trem, our host, on hards. And James Punt. We have seen that already before this pit stop action here, that he has opted for hards. And so why top 4 for some battle for the prime spot and for the podium, I would like to say. Could not crawl away enough to get a window, barely, but still in the IS window. And here's the attack from Granty Boy on CEO. For any of those, Granty Boy has, I think, from Liam Osborne, who lacks a nose totally, completely off. Group was already beyond the pit entry, while Chris Panda, here we have him, and Butters both were able to get into the pits early enough, even though Butters needed a new nose, but this is still an advantage for those guys. Josef Mrados, everyone who can is pitting now, of course. We see Mrados, Bitmappy, Brown Flakes in the pits, but that will not stay with just all of them. And yep, our leader group, the top 5, were unable to jump into the pits, so that might be an advantage for them. Leonard Cam has picked up penalty here. Let's get in the information about penalties. Not too many penalties, but there are some. Landocam 5 seconds and another 5 for Trem. So I expect our top 5 to pit here. Let's see if they do so. Pit entry is about to come up on the left hand side soon. And Monster seems to come in. Yes, he does. Monster does. Jetty Dog does. Granty Boy did not. Steo did. Liam did, but Granty Boy did not. I'm not sure if that move was right. So yes, he started on his mediums. He wanted to stay out longer than everyone else on softs. But even though if the safety car will go on for, I expect, 2 more laps, then afterwards his mediums will probably not hold any longer than 2 or 3 laps further, and then the field is very crowded, very packed, and he will lose a lot of positions then. So I do not think this was right. Meanwhile, sadly, we have seen the second DNF. Liam Osborne DNF'd already quite early, and just recently David Lawson did so too. That's a bit sad, but I hope the guys will stay with us to be in the second race then. So every once in a while we have one of the drivers telling us that they struggle a bit on internet connections, difficulties, just refuse to entirely stop. I hope that it will be good enough to continue, and we still have a few drivers that did not pick up the safety car queue, so there we see the last 2 or 3 drivers still in sector 2, while the rest of the field is already packed behind Bernd Mailänder in his safety car. So let's see if we... Usually the game calls in the safety car at the end of this lap. Let's see if the safety car phase might continue even 1 lap longer, as the queue is not intact yet. And if you have a look at the track map, there are still a lot of colored dots that are somewhere, even in the sector 3 of the old lap, so to speak. So the last one, Mogi in his Williams, has just started the long straight, while the leader is already close to sector 2 here. Yeah, well, let's just wait and find out. And for the race action, as we will have a restart sooner or later. As I mentioned, Granty Boy is still on his old mediums. I repeat myself if I say that I think that was a mistake. Then we have Chris Panda on his softs. He was one of the first to stop on the safety car. Ooh, Bitmap, he has picked up a penalty. He collided with Bran Flakes under safety car conditions. That is not a good thing. That's not how you have a good race. In P8, Darren Mark, still on his old mediums, likewise of age as Granty Boy's mediums, and everyone else has stopped. Everyone else has pitted. Safety car is in this lap, so on this long straight, Granty Boy will dictate the pace, and then we'll see himself probably into some tire degradation problems and disadvantages against Chatty Duck, CEO, and Monster, who, by the way, are among his big rivals in the championship too. So This will be one heck of a restart. And for this restart that has just begun here, Granny Boy picks up the pace. And we will stay in the car of Monster, who was a bit surprised, I would like to say. Was still warming up his tires when the field accelerated. And Granty Boy did well. Oh, big collision there! Oh, how sad is that? Big collision there. Oh, that is really sad. That is really sad. The two big contenders, Stio and Slydog, kicking themselves out. Oh. Yep, that's sad. Slydog, who was in a good position there, battling against Stio for the position. Oh, Mogi having himself a spin here. And let's have a look at the cars, how big the damage might be. Slydog's nose might still be intact. Let's have a close look. End plate's still there, so maybe no damage to his nose, just to his race entirely. And Stio, he has at least one end plate missing, so he will come back to the pits, I would like to assume. And yeah, Mogi retired after his crash earlier. I think Stio just touched the barrier there again when we jumped away from him, so he entirely ruined his front wing there. Whew, and that all? Speaks for Granty Boy, and here he is in the pits. As I said, he was able to go just +1 lap after the safety car phase, and he will lose a lot of positions here. He opts from yellow to softs, will try to stay out his last 6 laps on the softs. That is possible, that is definitely possible. And he has dropped back to P13, while there are a lot of drivers in front of him who will go through the race on their set, so he will not make up a lot of positions with pit stop strategy anymore, and he will have to race back into the points. First overtake was easily due to the fact that Darren Mark sadly is ghosted. So we will have one eye on the comeback of Granty Boy here. While that is happening, we search us some track action, and that is maybe going on here with Bitmappy. And behind him, oh, it's already Granty Boy. And oh, bit of struggles here in front of him. That's Brian Wheeler. Oh, threesome action here, that is close. And Bitmappy gets ahead of Brian Wheeler. Granty Boy wants to go through likewise. And Bitmappy has crashed. Oh, that's sad, that's sad. We'll have to have a new nose for Brian Wheeler, and Granty Boy has already jumped ahead. He's already back into the points. And will attack Bitmappy here. Let's just stay with him for this long straight. No DRS yet after the safety car phase. At the end of the long straight, he's very close. Bitmappy with his fresh softs, he has a bit of acceleration here at the end of the turns, and that should work easily here to overtake him. It does. So Granty Boy in P9. Ahead of him is Rizzle Sticks. And ooh, do not crash, do not throw it away at all. And while we see Granty Boy battling here against Rizzle Sticks, that should work here. Ooh, maybe a bit of a touch here. Oh, hard fighting going on. While all that has happened, Slydog has sadly given up the next DNF for Slydog. Yeah, I can understand. As sad as it is, as we all want to see racing action going on. but I can understand his disappointment. And while we have seen Granny Boy overtaking a few midfielders, I wanted to say we jump somewhere else where some action is going on, but it's very likely that the most action is going on at Granty Boy. And here he is very close to his teammate Albert de Witt, and will try to attack him here at the end of the long straight. He already attacks him midway through the long straight, and even before he is able to activate DRS, he is already past him. And Granty Boy now in P7, 4.1 seconds behind Josef Morados. So let's see, maybe he will get close to Morados, but I think that the top 5 are already too far away, as we will only have 3 plus the rest of this lap going on here. And yeah, if there's nothing strange going on, I would like to assume that... Oh no, there is a big problem for Monster. I was just about to say, if nothing weird is going on, Monster is up to a easy win, and right even before I ended my sentence, he is out. Oh, how big is that? How big is that? And all of a sudden, Chris Panda is leading. Chris Panda in his McLaren is leading. And he is the only one left of our championship contenders who is on the podium right now. So this could be the big day of Chris Panda. Granty Boy in P6. Of course, taking advantage of the DNF of Monster. And here we see Leonard Cam, who has already lost his position to Granty Boy. Maybe a mistake there by Leonard Cam, costing him the position to Granty Boy. And Granty Boy is already in P4 and might attack Butters here. I think he will have to wait until the long straight, but no, he does not. Oh, Butters almost losing his car while accelerating. Rizzlesticks had a problem somewhere. Losing a lot of positions here, taking the exit. And now he's out. Now he's out. The next one to DNF. And while that has happened, here's the attack from Granty Boy. Even before the long straight, didn't want to wait so long. And congratulations, Granty Boy now on the podium, 8 seconds behind P2. As long as Liam doesn't throw it away, I think our podium should stand that way. And yeah, what a late comeback from Granty Boy here. Congratulations. Did not expect that, but we have to say that of course he took advantage from some DNFs late here in the race. Speaking about DNFs, Bitmappy has just grayed out. There is some yellow, and I think that was a crash by the Renault driver. Sadly, I was not able to catch the crashes today, but yeah, we sadly do not have a replay option in live streams, of course, and I always try to be on point where the most action is going on, and especially on the track like this where the barriers are so close, it's just hard to know, or some kind of inexpectable to see where a crash might happen. And Granty Boy as we are close to turn into the final lap. Has just jumped ahead of Liam. Wow, I cannot believe it. I can't believe it. Does Liam have a problem? Does Liam have troubles? Have a look how big the gap already is. So Liam, he seems like he has a lot of understeering. Seems like he picked up some front wing damage, and that gave Granty Boy P2. Wow. Really, wow, congratulations already by now. As long as he doesn't put his racing point into the barrier somewhere like many others did today, he will have a monstrous great comeback race here. And don't underestimate the lack of downforce. So Liam did not opt to pit and get himself a new nose. He thought he will just finish the last lap with his damaged Red Bull, and well, let's see how many positions that will cost him. Butters is close. Butters will probably jump on the podium soon. Some last lap overtake for Butters against the damaged Red Bull should not be too hard. Oh, Darren Mark was disqualified for not taking another set of different tire in the race. Oh, didn't see that yet in a 25% race. Oh, Leonard came out too. Let's see if we can find him somewhere. Leonard Cam, there he is, crashed into the barrier in the last lap. Oh, that's evil. That's very sad, that's very sad. Meanwhile, Chris Panda is on the last lap, the last time, the long straight, and Granty Boy is already behind him there. What a big comeback by Granty Boy, but it will not be enough for the victory, because the victory goes to Chris Panda. Congratulations. And Granty Boy in P2. I repeat myself, great race in the end by him. So these two guys are our front runners in the championship right now. Butters on the podium for P3, congratulations. Liam, somehow got himself to the checkered flag in his damaged Red Bull. In P5, Josef Morados, very silent race, but bunch of points for him. Albert DeWitt, just like Trem, our host, acquires some points in P7. Then James Punt, didn't see the checkered flag yet, but that will happen soon. For P8, Steo still gets 2 points for P9. He had a really good first half of the race and then threw it away after the restart of the safety car phase. And in P10, Bran Flakes acquires the last point. And we will see the podium and the final results in just a moment. Trem, the driver of the day, and here is Michael Schumacher celebrating his victory. And here's the champagne! So, the final result of our first event tonight. Chris Panda has won in front of Granty Boy and Butters on the podium. Then we see Liam on P4, Josef Morados in P5, 6 Albert David, 7 Trem, 8 James Punt, 9 Steo, 10 Bran Flakes, P11 to Brian Wheeler, P12 Rizzle Sticks, P12 Leonard Cam, and beyond P14 those guys did not finish. Bitmappy, Monster, JD Duck, Mogi, David Lawson, Liam Osborne, and Denmark. We will have a short visit to the lobby to get the grid formed up for the second race. Second race, as I mentioned, Circuit Zandvoort. The top 10 drivers from this result will be reversed. So we will see Bran Flakes in the pole position, and yeah, other drivers will have a short moment of catching a drink here, and until we start the second race, I will step aside for a bit and we'll be with you in just a moment. So here we are again. The session timer has started to tick down. That is a good sign. I have been part of the background chatter that has been going on, and some drivers told us that there has been technical difficulties, but still the league wants to try the second race here in Zandvoort, and here we see the pictures of the track. Zandvoort should have had his comeback to the race calendar in 2020, but did not happen due to the pandemics. The circuit Zandvoort features a 4.2 kilometers length and 15 turns. It's quite difficult there to overtake, so we see two DRS zones on this track, but both are not that long, just to catch up to the next one. And most of the turns are medium or fast-paced turns. Actually, I would like to say just one or maybe two slow turns. And by the way, the track record in Formula 1 still dates back to Alain Prost in 1985, who posted a 1:16.538. So that just as comparison to the hot laps that's been posted here in the race. There's no quali, just directly jumping into the race. The track has been rebuilt a bit over the years, so it's not really comparable to the time of Alain Prost. But yep, here we are in the installation lap. Let's run down the starting grid. We have Bran Flakes, as mentioned, in the pole. Then James Punt in P2 and Trem in 3. Albert de Witt in 4. Josef Morados P5. New FC fan Liam in 6. Butters in 7. Granty Boy in 8. Chris Panda 9. And Brian Wheeler in 10. The rest of the grid is just as we have finished the first race. And one thing I would like to mention, especially here in Zandvoort, that it's a quite rainy region, I would like to call it. So similar to Belgium in Spa, there's always some possibility for rain. In my own career, my team career, I think never seen a race without rain here in Zandvoort. It's a bit annoying for me, but okay. So that might be a topic we will have to have an eye on. For the moment, let's have a look at the starting tires. Most of the guys running on softs. Only Liam, Granty Boy, David Lawson and Liam Osborne are starting on mediums. And for the start, I would always like to have a look at the positions changed. So this is the longest straight of the circuit. You can already see the next turn rather close, so it's just a bit longer than the pit lane is. This one bigger straight, so definitely no comparison to the track we have just seen in Baku. I mentioned it in the qualifying. The long straight of Baku is almost half the length of the entire Zandvoort circuit. So here we are in the starting grid. That's a bit of poor view, but okay, let's stick to James Punt for the moment. Lights out very fast here, and Punt had a good start. Brown Flake likewise. Oh, and the McLaren has been crashing out somewhere. McLaren in the pits, and the Ferrari, I think, in the background too. Has it been a Ferrari? Oh, but there's a Ferrari crash. 4 guys in the turn, into, over each other. Oh, that's a bad start for Josef Morados. Oh, Bitmappy is already out. I think that's the Renault we see here. Lot of action going on. Virtual safety car. A bit of surprise for me that it's only a virtual safety car. And for the leaders, there has not been a lot of position changes. James Punt and Bran Flakes changed their position. We are back to green right here. Back to racing action. James Punt in 1, Flakes in 2. Albert de Witt got himself 1 position. Chris Panda got himself 5 and a penalty. Chetty Duck had a good start. +7, giving him P7. Granty Boy plus minus 0, still in his P8. A lot of action here in the early phases of our second race already. And there's some close racing action going on. The other McLaren who survived the start, that's Chris Panda trying to get ahead. This is one of the fast turn sector here. A lot of fast turns, but as you can see, it's hard to overtake. David trying to push himself through. Bran Flakes tries to defend himself, and after Warriors turns, they're still wheel to wheel. Now I think David managed it to jump ahead. Yes, he did. Oh, Bran Flakes with the late attack. Does Flakes get the corner? Oh, no, he does not. Oh, and lost another position, and another, and maybe even another. So, wild series here for Bran Flakes. A bit of a touch here with Butters. Both checking into the gravel, and Granty Boy jumps ahead. No, Granty Boy into the pits. Granty Boy into the pits. Let's stay with him for a moment and see if he got some damage. Yes, he needs a new nose. Gets himself hard tires. Will try to get over the race on them. And while that has happened, we are back to the leaders. And a safety car. Ooh, there's been a collision. There's been a collision with Butters and Liam. We don't even see him anymore. He has already vanished. Ooh, wild first phase of this race. And Granty Boy has, just before the safety car came out, changed to hards. Let's see if that's a advantage or disadvantage that he pitted just this 1 lap before. And I suppose that the top drivers, all of them on the softs, will check into the pits soon. Actually now. Yeah, and here we go. Punt is in. Albert de Witt did not. Punt opted for mediums. A lot of everyone except Albert de Witt is in the pits. Mogi was running through 2 on his 3 laps old softs. So James Punt virtually the leaders still, or again, virtually, speaking of the fact that he did not pit yet. And Butters has opted for fresh hards. Likewise to Chris Panda. And Trem and David Lawson, all of them probably will try to go through on their set. And here we are again with some safety car phase. So there's just 1 person who did not serve a given penalty. That will be a drive-through. I did not see the message from race control, but I suppose that was a speeding under virtual safety car And yeah, Brown Flakes is in last position, so he will stay last as soon as he serves his penalty. That's very sad because he was a pole setter. He started in prime position and then had a wild phase in the laps after the start, and there's a pit stop by Mogi. Oh, he needs a new nose. Oh, new nose. Even though we were under safety car, he picked up some damage to his car. Oh, lost a lot of positions there, and I'm a bit surprised he has opted for mediums, because I doubt that he will get over the race on them, so he will probably have to stop again. And Albert de Wit in his racing point. Interesting fact, because we have seen the similar mistake, I would like to call it, from his teammate, from Granty Boy in the race before in Baku, when Granty Boy did not change tires in the safety car phase like everyone else did. He still came back to the podium, as we have just seen. Well, let's see how it all works out for Albert de Wit. Safety car in this lap. So this third sector now, Albert de Wit controls the field. Both Mercedes behind him, and Chetty Duck in P3. Wow, how did that happen? He started from very low. And Albert de Wit already picks up the pace here, a bit early. We still have quite... Oh, he has to brake again. He has to brake down again, as the safety car wasn't gone already. And we'll see himself being attacked by both Mercedes. No, just one, just James Punt. And defends himself, stays in front for the moment. Not a good way how to control the last sector in the restart. Here we see Chris Panda battling on his hards. Will have a bit of disadvantage against the drivers around him, as they run on the potentially faster medium or maybe even soft tires. And no action going on. Oh, a bit of a crash here from Osborne, touching the rear of Leonard Cam. No big effect on his car. We see some yellow, some Ferrari, Josef Morados. Oh, lost an end plate of his front wing. And yep, we'll have to get back to the pits. So we will have a new last place soon. And oh, there is some team internal action. James Punt has lost his position to the Chetty Duck. And Duck, braking mistake there. Again, some yellow. Mogi lost the position, but no bigger action, I would like to say there. And Chris Panda is close to James Punt, so Punt might lose the podium spot soon. Chris Panda has another good race here. So right now ranked in front of Granty Boy again, so he is having himself a day thus far. I hope he won't throw it away. And Chetty Duck is getting closer to our leader, whose soft tires probably are degrading now. Albert de Wit will see himself forced into the pits soon. And this is the camera view of Chetty Duck, who is very close here at the end of the long straight. I think we did not have DRS yet after the safety car phase. But Slydog will not need DRS against David. We always have some short yellows, but not some big problems anywhere on the track. And ooh, very close here. Albert David struggling on his tires. That's reachable here in these fast turns where you need the grip, where you need the mechanical grip to the track. DRS opened up here. I think Albert should go to the pits now. And then we will see Slydog in the lead. Behind him, let's stay in the car of Chris Panda at the moment. Albert David in front does not go to the pits. And there's the attack, and Slydog got it done easily. Yellow in all 3 sectors now, but no safety car. Oh, David Lawson has crashed somewhere. Lawson sadly has DNF'd the second time today. That's sad, of course. I think he hit the barrier in the last turn, turn 15. So Albert David did not go to the pits, and it costed him the lead. Would have costed him anyway if he pitted. But he still has to do that, and I would recommend to do that soon. Slydog, bit of a locked tire here. Will probably not be able to run to do the rest of the race on his mediums too. So Chris Panda in his McLaren, the potential leader. Potential, as he is the only one of the top drivers who should be able to go through on his tires. And Granty Boy is close. Granty Boy is rather close, but no attack under DRS circumstances. The straight is just too short, and Albert David did not pit again. Has posted 9 laps already on his softs. I think that was another mistake. Sorry if I say so, but not the right strategy in this race. I would like to say, is this a late attack from Granty Boy on Panda? Wheel to wheel battle lane here for Panda in the next turn. They leave them space, and Granty Boy should be granted the position. Still the fight. No, now it's over. Granty Boy has jumped ahead, but Chris Panda, I think that was a smart move to not defend himself too much, to try to conserve his tires and just go through them for the rest of the race. And now finally pit stop for Albert David. And Chris Panda knows that he's the only one who can potentially go through on this set of tire. So as long as there's no other safety car phase, as long as he doesn't ruin this set, he will jump ahead of Granty Boy and Slydog in the end again. Here we've seen another yellow action, some Alfa Romeo being slow in the second sector. Maybe that was Darren Mark or Brown Flakes. Oh, there we see him. Big problems in this race for Brown Flakes, especially if you race without a front wing. After starting in pole position, this is not a good race for him. Sadly. And here we are with Monster, who had himself, how can you name it, a good first half of the race in Baku, and a poor end, seeing himself into a potential win. And here he jumps ahead of Liam Osborne rather easily. And Osborne on his 7 laps old softs did not have the weapons to defend himself against Monster, but both of them should consider a pit stop soon. Both of them will probably acquire themselves fresh softs then for the last third of the race and post some hot times. Then we always see a bit of yellow come in and go. And Albert de Witt is back to P8, has opted for mediums. We'll go through the rest of the race on them. Oh, and it's close to Brian Wheeler here at the end of the second DRS zone. Wheeler committing a bit of a braking mistake. They leave space to each other and David gets him. David back in P7. So we will have an eye on him where he will finish when all the other guys have stopped again. He is potentially in a race for P2 and Brian Wheeler is fast on the straight. Brian Wheeler countering the attack, giving himself P7 back. Congratulations to that. Bit of a surprise to all of us and especially to Albert de Witt, I would like to assume. And in the fast turns here, it's not a good place to be. Speaking of dirty air. And no possibility to attack for de Witt. Second DRS zone will come up after this turn. Maybe then, but it's very short. Just a possibility to catch up a bit. Wheeler had a good acceleration, so no possibility for de Witt to attack. Acceleration struggles for Wheeler. Still no chance for de Witt to attack, but then now, woohoo, don't rush into him. The next DRS zone will come up here. Yep, this will go. This will be a easy position change for Albert de Witt. And in the lead there's some action going on. Granty Boy versus Chetty Dog. A great duel between those two guys who are... both of them are really good virtual racers and are among the championship contenders in this season, of course. And they battling it out for the lead, but I suppose that both of them will need a tire change. Granty Boy, of course, will not come in if the Duck doesn't, so Granty Boy has the advantage of being in the trading position. That means he can react on what the Duck does. Chetty Duck has to decide whether he tries to run through on his used mediums or not. And if he goes into the pits, I suppose Granty Boy will do just the same. And James Punt has been in the pits. Punt has got himself fresh softs. So this is the duel for the lead, maybe for the win. We will find out about that in the next 3.5 laps, if the tires can stay good or not. Good enough to get themselves over the race. The last 3 laps are about to start here. Both opted to stay out, so I would like to assume that they will try to run through. And Granty Boy is close. Granty Boy is close. I mentioned it in the late break here for Granty Boy. I mentioned it in the early phase of the race. It's difficult to overtake here in Zandvoort because in these turns there's just no place for two drivers going wheel to wheel. No possibility to attack somewhere here. and the DRS zones are not very long. So if Slydog does not commit a mistake, and if he can make himself as wide as possible in the turns, he should have a chance to defend himself good enough for the last almost 2 laps, 2 and a bit. And I think we will just stay with these 2 guys battling it out for the lead. DRS zone attack here from Granty Boy, and wheel to wheel into turn 1, wheel to wheel into turn 2, probably 2. Clean racing thus far, maybe a bit of a touch here, but it's... Oh, not just a bit, not just a bit! Slydog has lost his car, oh no. Oh no, Chris Panda is through. Slydog still on the podium here. Oh, that is sad. That is sad. Oh, still struggling. Dirty tires. Dirty tires, maybe heated tires. He will lose positions here. Oh. Monster has slipped through. Monster now on a potential podium. And there are more drivers jumping ahead of Slydog. That's Liam Osborne and Albert De Witt. Ah, that is sad. That is sad. I wanted to say that those 2 drivers are really battling great against each other and being clean and right when I wanted to say that. They had some kind of a touch and Duck lost grip in the fast-paced turn 2 or 3 and is still struggling, so I think that he does have some tire issues. His tires are old yet, so already 12 laps on these mediums, and it seems like they just couldn't cope with this spin and are more or less totally gone now. Oh, and while that has happened, Albert De Witt, maybe his last chance to attack P4. No, he's too far away. He's too far away, and as we are already in the last lap of the race, oh, Albert, do it, Albert De Witt, taking a wide lane, a wide spin here, had some acceleration issues that caused him to spin and fall back by 2 positions, so Slydog at least acquiring back P5. And we are in the last lap. We are here with our leader Granty Boy, who has just entered the last sector, so the last turn, and here is the victory in race 2 for Mr. Granty Boy. Congratulations, he was able to run through on his medium tires, didn't expect that, and that eventually gave him the lead. And Chris Panda on P2 having himself a strong day. P1 and P2, that is a huge result for him. Congratulations. Monster here at least a podium in the second race after throwing away the victory in the first race. And Slydog, limiting the damage on his last lap. P4 for him, congratulations. Likewise. P5, Liam Osborne. P6, Brian Wheeler getting the Renault some points. Albert De Witt then in P7, Mogi in P8, silently crawling up into the points. Trem, our host, acquiring points again in second race too. Butters then in P10, getting himself the last point granted. And with him, the session ends. And the driver of the day is Monster. Yes, he crawled ahead by a lot of positions. And so we will see Michael Schumacher on the podium again. P1 Granty Boy, next to him in P2 Michael Schumacher, the virtual version of him. And here's the champagne again! Ottmar Schaffenauer getting himself some champagne shower, just like yesterday. And here's the final result of our second race after penalties. Granty Boy has won in front of Chris Panda. Monster in P3, Chatty Duck in 4, Osborne 5, P6 Brian Wheeler, P7 Albert David, P8 Mogi, P9 Trem, P10 Butters, P11 for Josef Morados, P12 James Punt, in 13 Leonard Cam, in 14 Darren Mark, Bitmap P15, 16 our pole setter Bran Flakes, and the last guys did not finish. That's David Lawson and new FC fan Liam in P18. So with two again really great races, action-packed as always in the Slydog Racing League, we have ended our third event in this season. The races 4 and 5 are in the books. It has been a pleasure for me to deliver that into your living room via YouTube. Was fun as always. The Slydog Racing League, always racing on Monday evenings, approximately around about 8:30 p.m. of UK time. The stream mostly starts 5 to 10 minutes earlier. Was a pleasure for me. Glad you were with us. I hope you will be that again. Maybe or hopefully already on next week's Monday. The Slydog Racing League is sponsored by Grace Bespoke, your printing and embroidery specialists. Visit gracebespoke.co.uk for more. Thanks for being with us. Have a good evening. Stay safe in these times. And keep racing.